This girl has learned some new words this week. Tell me about the words that you learned.
No, I will not say this.
Why?
It's inappropriate. Oh my god.
You learned some new words this week.
Bad words.
In what language?
English. From
Really?
you.
Like what?
Yes.
What does it start with?
No.
How about in Hindi? You learned some Hindi words too.
Yes, as well. Also thanks to you.
Ownage pranks on YouTube. Go and check it out. It's hilarious. In fact, I'll guide you right to the funniest stuff. Ownage pranks Indian. Indian as in Indian accent. Hilarious. Tamara has been giggling like a little girl this entire week from this guy who does prank phone calls in multiple different voices. He is a voice actor and comedian, and he calls a lot of people on and records all of it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So we've decided to try to record something on Fridays. That's just a really good way to recap the week and talk about victories and discussions and what's going on. Today was a very interesting day, and I have a question for you tomorrow. I just was inspired by this question on YouTube. If you could ask God one question, what would you ask?
Oh my god.
I can go first.
Okay, you go first.
I would ask, well, the first thing that came to mind is this. If I could ask God one question, it wouldn't be, oh, is there heaven? Is there hell? Is there I wouldn't ask that. I would ask, all of us have a life and it's going to end one day. And I would ask, and then but we let worry really really steal our joy. I would ask God, you know better than anyone that I've worried a lot in my life. Was any of my worry ever justified? And I would want to know what God would say. Because in my opinion, you either believe that God is everything or nothing. And I'm not saying that all these blessings come to us in life just by sitting on our butt and doing nothing. But, in my opinion, in my belief, not in my opinion, in my belief is that God has his finger on every little thing in the universe. And, I can remember so many times in my life where I worried and something either came out better or I didn't fully understand the situation at the time and that's why I worried, or I worried and there was nothing worth worrying. So I would want to hear from God. God, is there ever anything to worry about? And I honestly, from what I understand in the Bible and my conception of God and Jesus Christ, is that everything happens for a reason. And of course, there's a lot of, whatever. That's a whole debate and a whole lifetime of debating. And anyway, but in my life, I choose to believe that whatever happens in it, it's leading somewhere. And I can recall so many times where I let myself worry when I could have talked myself out of it. So I would want to hear from God. God, when I'm worrying, am I just wasting my time and energy? And I really believe that he would say, yes, of course you're wasting your time. You should be worshiping me in that moment where you're worrying. Your worry is an indication that your faith isn't big enough. Because Tamara, I have told you so many things, and you guys out there that are listening, and thank you so much. Oh my God, have already been alluding to this, but so many stories, and honestly, not pleasant, and stories I wouldn't wish on anybody. Not obviously, and obviously, there's a lot of people that have had harder lives and crazier things, but we all go through things that we wouldn't want to see other people go through, or and something like that. But I would really want to ask God, if I'm worrying, am I just not in the right state of mind? And I would be very curious on what he would say. And that was like the solution for all of our lives, I think. If we could just find out that worrying is just an indication that we are losing our sight of our faith and letting our faith be overcome by the situation, or by the circumstances or the way that something looks just from one side. I mean, how many times that I worried about things which down the line ended up to be a blessing, and all those difficulties of life. Like I said, I admit I've had an easy life. I'm born in America with two parents with siblings. Never went hungry a night of my life. So when I look at it that way, it's all a blessing. But there's been moments where we all have problems, we all have things to worry about, but not that we all have things to worry about. We all have things that we could worry about. It doesn't matter if you are a billionaire or absolutely broke. You're worried about losing your billions, or even millions or thousands, or you're either worried about, or you're worried about how you're going to make even $100 in a month. So there's so many situations. So I would want to just ask God, is there any point in worrying? And I'm curious on what He would say. What about you?
Very interesting. No, I definitely need more time to think about what to ask. Really.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
back, and Tamara is now answering this question.
Hey.
We're back after this commercial break. No, but I was just scrolling through YouTube. It's here. It is 11:30 in an undisclosed location in Europe. Okay, Georgia. That's as much as I'm going to tell you. We're in the bunker. Oh my God. So Tamara, nothing you want to say?
No.
Okay. So I'll take over. I had a very, very, and all of this is leading up to something. So the whole point I'm bringing this up of all these worrying situations, the situation on my end, as you guys know, or if you guys have been listening, we've talked about this many times. I met Tamara doing an MBA in Budapest, Hungary, from 2022 to 2024. And we then went on two different scholarships. My particular scholarship is called the Hungarian Diaspora Scholarship. If you have Hungarian blood, recommend to look into it. They pay the entire scholarship, the tuition for the school, as well as some additional costs. But of course, anyway, if you guys want to talk about that or need some more information, just Google Hungarian Diaspora Scholarship, and you will easily find information. And feel free to reach out on some how-to, some advice, some tips. But part of this scholarship requirement is to be able to pass. You must pass a certain level of Hungarian language, whether it's A1, A2, B1, B2, and so on and so forth. And that's dependent on the amount of semesters that the scholarship covers. So I have completed my degree, and I was involved in this year I had to pass a A2 level of Hungarian. And thank God the alphabet is relatively similar. I appreciate it now more than ever, now that I live in an undisclosed location with my princess in Georgia. They have a unique alphabet here that they fought to preserve. But honestly, thank God I was even just handling a normal alphabet that I can, A is A, B is B, D is D. So, long story short, today was the day where I had one of my chances to take this test, which is only twice a year. And the penalty for not passing this exam, as I originally had signed the scholarship agreement that I would pass a Hungarian exam within a year of graduating. So realistically, I have until June, but the whole point I'm getting to is that I had a chance now to do it in December. And this was a very, very big stress for me, and for two reasons. Number one, the failure of this failure to complete this requirement requires that the scholarship holder, me, has to pay back this scholarship amount, which would have amounted to approximately $20,000. And now with the princess involved in all of my successes and my mistakes, that is a lot of pressure to have on. And so, truthfully, even having studied Hungarian for 2 years, it honestly comes in one ear and out the other. I do not memorize languages well, and this unfortunately, this language is pure memorization. You look at a word, and in English or Spanish or even German, there's no way you're going to get a cheat on this. For example, very, very few words you can indicate. For example, in Spanish, there's a lot of words where you can like look at a sentence and be like, okay, the main point of this sentence is um, whatever, and because it's similar to an English word or something. But in Hungarian, that's really not the case. So the whole point is here is that I was really struggling to study, and I've been struggling with this language requirement since I started my scholarship work. And yes, of course, there's stories, hundreds of millions of stories of how many people went to a country and figured it out in a year or two and were speaking the language very quickly. But this just wasn't the case. Long story short, I had a massive breakthrough while taking this exam today, in where I got to use some help. And as I was looking through the exam, I realized if the situation didn't uh, if the exam situation didn't unravel the way that it did, and I wasn't able to get some additional help, online help, I would have not have passed this test, and I would have had to go and wait until the summer, the last opportunity to take this exam online, because you can take it in Hungary too. But the whole point is here is that I was going into this test absolutely worried that I wasn't well prepared, because honestly, I really it wouldn't have mattered if I studied for 3 months every single day. It just I don't know. Long story short is I got an absolute blessing today, and I realized that I was worrying about it and worrying for no reason. Obviously, that doesn't mean that I could have banked on this and not studied beforehand. I did, and I tried to refresh myself, and to a very minor extent it helped. But as soon as I saw the first exam task, I realized that, oh my goodness, I am years away from reading at this level or being able to write at this level. And like I said, a situation arose where I was able to get some additional help that normally wouldn't have been included in the exam. And I will leave those details out of it. But by the time I realized that I was able to use this help, I by the time the exam was over, I just was like thinking to myself, "Oh my goodness, Lord, how many times I woke myself up in the middle of the night and thought about how I would pay this off if this had been the case. Not even my bachelor's degree in the U.S. came even close to the amount of out of pocket money that this would have been. So, oh my God, it just goes to show that obviously we need to play our parts to do the things that to make our effort, to make our best effort to make things happen, and to push ourselves in the right direction. But ultimately, I believe that God has makes a way when we don't see a way. And I'm telling you, there, I did my studying, but I wasn't even close to being to a level where I could pass, even with a 50%. So and this has been a story that's been reoccurring in my life. Oh my God, in way more situations than I can even count or that I can even be aware of. Tamara has even seen it firsthand many times, right? How many angels and doors opened for me while we were studying, where I could have lost a scholarship, or I was, my graduation from the MBA was even questionable, doubtful, in fact. And Tamara was next to me when situations where just I would look at her like, oh my goodness, God is so good. I worried and I kept myself up at night so many times, but somehow when I was able to calm myself down and pray and thank God that a solution was already on the way, I had no idea how right I was. And I don't take that for granted, just to go about life and just do whatever I want without any fear of consequences. Of course I have, I have a, just yes, we have to play our part. That's my whole point. and I try to do my best, but of course, I've decided already years ago that I'm done trying to live this life completely on my own. But of course, the human instinct is to try to plan one day ahead, and then you're planning a week ahead, and then you're planning a month ahead, and then you're planning a quarter and then a year ahead when you're laying awake at night and you try to figure out your whole life in the middle of the night. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever
Hmm.
been through
Of
this?
course.
Of course, everybody goes through this. So, oh my God. And in those moments, when I'm thinking 3 months ahead, when realistically you have no idea what could happen. Something could change, your job could change. You could get a new job, lose a job, have a baby, fall in love, break love. Who knows? You never know. But the amount of stress that I have allowed into my life, forgetting about my faith and forgetting about God, or just being weak and not controlling my thoughts. I'm telling you, Tamara, if there's one thing I could, and I'm telling you guys too, think about this question. Put it in the comments. I'm wondering, what question would you ask God if you could only ask one question? Realistically, what would it be? Think about it. I mean, I sprung it on you. Have you thought about anything?
No, it's not that easy,
I mean, of
really.
course, it's not that easy. I was thinking about it for 15 minutes before I came
You
to you
see? Hmm.
and thought, but I was just thinking that the reason it came relatively quickly was I'm telling you, this $20,000 debt, had I not been had a chance to pass this exam, would it was really hanging over my head. And now that I have a princess at my side, it's one thing if I create a situation where okay, I owe $20,000. Realistically, a lot of people have not only paid much more than that in school college and university loans, but they probably owe way more than that even now. And my heart is praying for you guys for the abundance to cover that if that's the case. And congratulatory and I send a congratulations to those of us who that have been able to avoid this educational debt in our lives. And whether we have to have parents to thank or programs to thank. But of course, don't forget to thank the number one. But yeah, I was just thinking about that today, and oh my goodness, I can't even tell you the emotional, um, the emotional relief of I know I passed this test today thanks to the situation that was created, and normally I'm guess some exception was made for me, and I just know that I have got God to thank for this opportunity, and literally that this $20,000 debt is now gone over my life and my princess's life. And oh my God, I really pray that I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. I'm sure I will. But oh my God, life is good, and Tamara and I are in a situation. Um, where we're obviously we're still applying for jobs. The right one hasn't come along yet. Tamara actually had an interview the other day, and tell them about the situation and how you're thinking about it.
Well, basically, I have already had a number of interviews, and with each interview, I just realized that I would
Say
say,
the truth. Say the
yeah, I
brutal,
mean,
honest
my
truth.
price is very high. So, well, usually employers they want to hire like very qualified people and pay less money, but this is not the case. So I know
Tamara
my
is
price,
exceptional,
and
professionally and personally. She
yeah,
really
this
is.
is something that yeah, all of us should know that yeah, we should know our price. And but very often employers they want to have the best qualified candidates and hire really people with very good experience, with very good perspective for development, etc. But at the same time, they do not have enough budget for this. So
For you,
yeah, in this case, so
for you, they don't. That's simply it. You were
yeah,
already working at
so
a very high
yeah,
level
yeah,
before.
exactly. So I can't work for anything less.
Downgrade,
Yeah,
obviously.
so for me to will mean a downgrade. So that's why I should really keep this level high. And Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's the um, I would say my conclusion about interviews so far.
Hmm.
So, but of course, it's just a matter of time. So the right opportunity will come. It's just a matter of, yeah, searching, and that's it. So,
Thank God that we're not in a situation where we need to jump on the very first thing that comes along.
yeah. Hmm.
A little financial insight into our life that for sure the money for the rent is sitting in the account for the next 2 months, and we have more to be moved when it needs. So the rent is covered, the food is covered, no problem at all. But we it's literally as if, like, we know that, okay, we could not we still even have we have many more months of reserve. But all I'm saying is that the money that needs to be set up for the next 2 months is sitting pretty much underneath our pillow. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. That's why I'm saying it's an undisclosed location. We are in an undisclosed location. But it's a blessing. There's no reason that to jump on the right thing. And honestly, oof, my God, we got a really, really big personal event for tomorrow. Tomorrow and I coming up very soon. A visit to the U.S. Embassy. This is going to be the first time that Tamara is going to be in the U.S. and this will be also her first introduction into for in person, obviously, to my family members at one time in one place. All of them know her and have talked to her and have seen her and know, and obviously, but we're uh, my only my dad and my brother were at the graduation, so they've met her in person. But my mom and my other brother, they know everything they need to know. So I'm really excited for our first Christmas together in the States, and just another big step in our relationship. So that appointment is just right around the corner, and realistically, I'm glad that we're going to be able to spend 2-3 weeks in the US with literally no concern of, oh my God, we need money. How are we going to pay the rent? We can't even afford. We need to apply for jobs while we're at home, which probably we can do. We're going to have time. But oh, I need to work. I need to work remotely while we're on vacation. F
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So we're in a very fortunate situation, and as just like we talked about the last week, was that we to, it takes a conscious effort to realize how good our situation is, and not just to freak out about the fact that neither of us have found the right opportunity yet. But I already know that we're gonna look back and just be like, huh. Thank God we talked ourselves out of worrying because it wasn't even the reason. If we would have known how what a blessing God had for us already just lined up and it was just a matter of time, we wouldn't have wasted this time, this effort to worry. And this is where this idea comes from, where I this is the question that I would ask God, because honestly, wouldn't it solve all of our problems if you have faith in, for me, Jesus Christ. It can be whatever it wants for you, but if you have faith in Jesus Christ, there is nothing to worry about. If you do what you can do as a human, a flawed human, and have faith in God and Jesus, then worry is just a sign that you're making the problem bigger than God. And what problem can ever be bigger than God? And it's again, I'm not trying to be your pastor or your preacher, but I tell you the way that I think, and it really helps me. If there's I know what kind of life I want to live. I know what kind of life I want to live, and I know the kind of example I want to give for my children one day. We're working on it. Don't ask me any questions. We're not taking any questions right now. Hmm? She has a sarcastic smile on her face. 9 months? 6 months? How long does it
Hmm.
take to make a baby? 6 hours? 6 minutes? I'm kidding.
Hmm.
It takes 60 days to have a baby. I learned it on TEDx, TED Talks. CNN told me. Communist News Network. Oh my gosh. What's the plan for the weekend? We're going on a date tomorrow.
Yes.
Tell me about this date.
Well, it's like a New Year present from my mom. So yeah, we will visit one of the fanciest. restaurants here in Tbilisi. So let's say for me it will also be the first time visiting that place. So
Cool. There is political turmoil here in Georgia, so we need to buy a gun illegally.
no.
Why? The minister of security had a bunch of illegal guns, and they took it from him. If he can,
Former Minister of Defense.
former minister of defense as of 2 hours ago, because they confiscated all his shit
Yeah.
at home.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Everything is fine. Everything is more than fine. What else? Christmas time in an undisclosed location. It's beautiful. I'm waiting for the snow.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go skiing soon. One of my deepest passions. Anyway, guys, now I'm just using up the fill up time. That's the message I wanted to share for today. Think about it. Comment if you would like to, as to what you would ask God if you had one question to ask. And I'm curious, would you ask something about yourself, or would you ask something that in a way that how would it benefit others, how would it benefit you? For me, I would like to know, and I would like to hear it from him. Is there any reason to worry if we have faith in you? And I honestly think the answer would be like, no. You worrying is just letting the problem bigger. Obviously, we don't sit on our butt and just wait for everything to come to us. We have to play our part too. But I believe that God sees that when you put in your effort, and then whatever your goals are, and wherever you have it, feel it in your heart, that's the right way to go in your life. If your best can only get you 5, 10, 20% of the way there, God will get you the rest of the way until 10%. That's the way that I'm choose to live my life. Whatever, however it's perceived as overly optimistic or what, I don't care. You know what? I really don't care. I have my life to live, and I know that when I'm on my deathbed, my last words to the people around me are just like, just keep your eyes and ears and mind on God, and do not worry. As you worry, you waste your time and you waste your life force. Peace.